Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, 2 people were arrested in connection with fires set on the same street in Fort Fairfield. We'll have the details coming up.
Plus, oil prices in Maine have certainly gone up. We'll tell you about an energy assistance and home heating program that can help with those costs.
And nurses at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor are planning to go on strike this month. We'll hear why.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We'll have those stories and more coming up. First, we hope you had a wonderful weekend, no matter what you did. It's time to get back to work, and it looks like a wet start to the work week. All kinds of rain today. Going to have some very strong winds as well.
Definitely. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. We have a lot of advisories posted. We have storm warnings along the coast, high wind warnings in effect as well, lasting until about 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We'll have some very strong winds moving in. We have flood watches also posted and some winter weather advisories that are also in effect. I'll pull some of the advisories off, and you can see that winter weather advisory that's also up, and that's also a wind advisory. So we have plenty of advisories that are in effect with a strong system that will be moving in. We are seeing a little bit of activity moving in this morning. First off, as a little bit of snow right there, we are going to switch over to some rain showers, and yes, even some thunderstorms that will be on the way with a push of warm air that will be on the way. This is courtesy of this very strong system that's going to be tracking off towards the north and east in due time. So Futurecast showing that push of warm air with showers and yes, even some thunderstorms on the way today and even tonight. The tight pressure gradient showing that strong wind that will be moving in later on. Your hourly forecast moving forward showing the rain and yes, even some thunderstorms mixing in with rising temperatures. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, a scary situation in Rockwood is evidence of the quickly changing ice conditions. It was around 1 o'clock on Sunday morning when a woman attempted to drive onto Moosehead Lake. She had just gone onto the ice at the boat ramp when her truck suddenly started crashing through. Fortunately, she was pulled to safety and is okay. Rescuers say it's a reminder that ice conditions are changing with warmer temperatures and rain. The ice in areas near boat ramps, shorelines, and moving water can weaken much faster than the main lake. People should use extreme caution when heading onto the ice.
Boy, what a close call there. I was reading a little earlier, too, they plan to get that truck out of there on Wednesday, I believe. Well, meanwhile, 2 people, 1 juvenile and 1 19-year-old, were arrested in connection with a pair of fires on the very same street up in Fort Fairfield. According to the State Fire Marshal's Office, Fort Fairfield Fire and Rescue were called to a structure fire last Tuesday night at the old Public Works garage on Park Street. And during the course of their investigation, it was determined that another fire had been set in an unoccupied home shortly before that fire, also on Park Street. That fire was located at 9 Park Street, just over a quarter mile away from the old Public Works garage. Investigators determined both were cases of arson, and authorities say 19-year-old Leo Rideout Jr. of Fort Fairfield was arrested and charged with arson. He was transported to the Aroostook County Jail. And then on Friday, investigators from the Fire Marshal's Office arrested a juvenile male for arson. Working with the Juvenile Community Corrections Officer, authorities say he was placed on conditions of release and then was released to his guardians. The investigation remains ongoing and additional charges are pending.
Meanwhile, a Connecticut man was arrested in Washington County after he allegedly assaulted a federal officer and grabbed for his firearm. According to a criminal complaint, 29-year-old Devin Bishop allegedly drove at a high rate of speed across the bridge from Campobello Island and into the U.S. According to the complaint, a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officer pursued Bishop, who got out of his vehicle in Lubec. The records say he forcibly assaulted and resisted the officer when the officer attempted to arrest him and allegedly grabbed for the officer's gun. During that struggle, the gun discharged, but no one was injured. According to the complaint, the officer was eventually able to take Bishop into custody with the help of a passing motorist. He is charged with assaulting a federal officer and failing to report his arrival.
An apparent medical issue resulted in a serious car crash in the town of New Vineyard. According to the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, deputies on Friday afternoon responded to a single vehicle rollover crash on Lake Street in New Vineyard. Authorities say a pickup truck owned by mainly Trees of Strong and being driven by 49-year-old Donald Tyler of Anson was traveling eastbound on Lake Street when an apparent medical issue caused the vehicle to leave the roadway on the left side. It struck a tree, rolled down an embankment, and ended up in a driveway where it struck a tow-behind trailer. Authorities say Tyler and his passenger, 24-year-old Colby Thayer, were not wearing seatbelts. They say Tyler was transported to Maine Health Franklin Hospital in Farmington for an evaluation, and Thayer was not injured.
In other news this morning, as the war in Iran stretches into its third week, President Trump is now calling on world leaders to help keep the Strait of Hormuz open. It comes as oil prices continue to soar. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
This morning, the U.S. and Israel launching new strikes on Iran. Dozens reportedly killed after an Israeli strike on an industrial site in Isfahan. And airstrikes overnight hitting Tehran hours after this residential area was hit. The Pentagon says it has reduced that country's missile volume by 90% and its drone capability by 95%. But Iran not backing down.
We are ready to defend ourselves as long as it takes.
Here at home, the war with Iran is having a ripple effect on the economy. This morning, President Trump now calling on world leaders to help keep the Strait of Hormuz open, a key waterway through which 1/5 of the world's oil travels. Trump warning NATO allies if they don't help, it will be very bad for the future of NATO. Crude oil prices soaring past $100 per barrel again overnight. And gas prices are up 77 cents from last month. Analysts expect diesel to hit $5 per gallon this week, driving transportation costs higher. That means higher prices in the grocery store, particularly for fresh foods which are delivered daily to supermarkets.
How long should Americans expect for gas prices to be high?
Yeah, I think that this conflict will certainly come to the end in the next few weeks. Could be sooner than that, but the conflict will come to the end in the next few weeks, and we'll see a rebound in supplies and a pushing down of prices after that.
And analysts warn oil prices are not likely to go back down until shipping traffic starts moving again through the Strait of Hormuz. And even then, it could take months for countries in the Middle East to ramp up oil production again. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Latest survey found a spike in oil prices here in Maine as well. Prices jumped from a statewide average of $3.94 a gallon on March 2nd to $4.83 a gallon on March 9th. That's an increase of 89 cents. According to the Maine Department of Energy Resources, kerosene prices reached $5.80 a gallon last Monday. Acting Commissioner of the Maine Department of Energy Resources, Dan Burgess, says financial assistance for home heating is still available through the Home Energy Assistance Program, which is administered by Maine Housing. Applications from eligible households are accepted through May, and approved applicants can apply any benefits they receive to upcoming costs. So if you were struggling to pay for your home heating, there's still some time to get some assistance if you need it. By the way, I looked in this morning, the average price for a gallon of gas for your car is averaging about $3.57 a gallon this morning. That's up 67.7 cents just from a month ago. And again, a lot of that is because of the war in Iran.
Definitely. Well, the time now is 8:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, VZ police are investigating a classic car business that turns out to actually be a scam. We'll have more on that ahead.
But first, another check of that forecast. Today will be a rainy day with a chance of thunderstorms, windy too, highs around 55 degrees. There's a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight, lows dropping down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a chance of rain, highs around 51. We'll be right back.
when the unexpected happens.
Really?
We'll get you running again, uninterrupted. Together, we're United. United Ag and Turf, your local John Deere dealer.
Welcome to outdoor living. Welcome to Granville Stone and Hearth. Goodness knows we've been cooped up long enough. Make plans now to enjoy the outside of your home, too. Come to Granville and see, touch, and imagine what you can do in your backyard. Light a path, light a fire, grill a meal, sit a bit. It's all in stock. There's a staycation right outside your door with expert help from Granville, one of the largest outdoor living suppliers in Maine. Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals. By the way,
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line. I'm Deborah Norville, and this is the perfect line.
Onion rings before, in between.
Onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after. Oh, this is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Congressional District 2 candidate Jordan Wood is speaking out about threats and intimidation at his Holton Town Hall on Thursday evening. The following video has been censored for television standards, but still contains strong language. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm a real Democrat, not a like you, okay? I've heard enough of this. Y'all can go to or put your head back in the sand. Have a nice day. I'm not finished with you.
Wood released a statement regarding that incident. He said in part, quote, "When it was over, 2 people on our team went outside to make sure he wasn't lingering in the parking lot. He was. And the first thing he told them was that he had guns in his car. Our team didn't run. They did something courageous. They stayed and they listened. For 15 minutes in that parking lot, they let the man talk about Social Security, about his family's history with the KKK. And after all of it, he apologized to our team and loosely to me. Then he got in his car and drove home. That's a human being who has been fed rage by people in power who will never have to stand in that parking lot," end quote. Wood adds that he will, quote, "keep showing up in every corner of Maine's 2nd District," end quote.
Well, meanwhile, nurses at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor are planning to go on strike. The one-day strike is scheduled to happen on March 23rd. EMMC nurses are represented by the Maine State Nurses Association and the National Nurses Organizing Committee. A statement says they have been bargaining for a new contract since July of 2025 with little or no movement on key issues. The statement says their contract expired last September. It also says unresolved bargaining issues include ensuring safe nurse-to-patient ratios, protecting nurses' health insurance benefits from potentially exorbitant increases, ensuring all nurses receive the same benefits, and ending EMMC pay discrimination against women's healthcare nurses. A statement from Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center President Ava Collins says, quote, "The medical center provided the union a very strong offer that recognizes and supports our nurses with direct investments in very competitive wages, benefits, and training, and continues to support high-quality care for our patients. We believe our nurses should have the opportunity to review this and vote on this offer prior to the union carrying out a strike on the medical center." Collins says they will have temporary replacement nurses during that strike, so care will not be disrupted at the hospital.
If you're looking for a new set of wheels, local law enforcement says you should not go to Casco Bay Classic Cars in VZ. That's because they say it doesn't actually exist. Our Callie Warren with the details.
According to my directions, I'm here at Casco Bay Classic Car Sales at 1012 School Street in VZ. Not a single car in sight.
There is no classic car dealership here in VZ.
VZ police are investigating Casco Bay Classic Cars. Their website says they're located in VZ. Their Facebook says they're in Portland, and their website is registered to a company in Hong Kong.
This is not a legitimate company. It is not in VZ. It is an attempt to commit fraud or theft by deception.
VZ Police Sergeant Chad Young says they've received 6 complaints about the fraudulent dealership, and at least one person has lost tens of thousands to the scam.
From what I saw, the price ranged $20,000 to $40,000.
VZ Police already took down the site once before. It came back with a slightly different URL. The website alleges that the dealership has been around for 15 years, but Young says there's been no classic car dealer in VZ in the 6 years he's worked at the department. Furthermore, he says the phone number attached to the website is not from VZ. It's an internet phone number, which can be generated online.
Hey, thanks for calling Casco Bay Classic Cars.
The calls go to voicemail, even during their alleged business hours.
Hello, it's Nico with Casco Bay Classic Cars. We're currently unavailable to take a call.
Young says that not only is the dealership not real, the cars likely aren't either. He says they're likely AI-generated images. The VZ Police Department is working with federal investigators to return money to that scam victim and hopefully get the website shut down. If you've been a victim of an online scam, Young advises contacting the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center.
Make sure to do your research and make sure that the people here looking to interact with are legitimate.
In VZ, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Have to watch out for everything these days.
You sure do. The time now is 8:16. After the break, a powerful storm slamming the Midwest before heading east. We'll learn how it's disrupting travel coming up.
Plus, Portland held their annual St. Patrick's Day parade over the weekend. We'll have those stories and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
It's mowing season. And Bad Boy Mowers has the best lineup in the game. Built to win with more power, advanced engineering, and performance that never quits. Whether you're playing on this field or this field. So this mowing season, raise your game and join the team. Bad Boy, mow with an attitude.
It only took me 4 stories and 3 songs. And finally, she's fast asleep. Now, it's my time to unwind. With my irresistibly smooth, melting Lindor.
From me, the Lindt Master Chocolatier. Melt into your moment.
Diabetes isn't a death sentence, but it is absolutely a life sentence, and you have to figure out how you're going to keep your kid alive. So when you find somebody from the government that's on your side, and it happens to be Susan Collins at the same time, that was just magnificent. After the meeting in Portland for my wife and son, my wife came back. She was 10 feet tall. She'd felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt like we had a powerful advocate on our side. It was a big step towards healing.
Thank you, Senator Collins.
Please continue delivering for T1 families.
In winter, accidents can happen in an instant. From icy sidewalks to winter roads, there are close calls around every corner. And when a close call becomes something more, insurance companies won't always look out for you, but we will. For over 50 years, the law offices of Joe Bornstein have helped injured Mainers. Accidents happen to be our specialty. When it's more than a close call, call Joe.
St. Patrick's Day might not officially start until tomorrow, but that didn't stop hundreds of people from wearing their best green attire in Portland on Sunday. Let's take a look. The City of Portland's annual St. Patrick's Day parade brought hundreds of people downtown. Donnie Jones has walked in the parade for more than 10 years, which stretches for a few miles along Commercial Street.
Well, it's fun. And I enjoy, seeing everybody.
The hat and beard, the city ushered in St. Patrick's Day with music, decked out floats, and of course, candy as well.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wish Bangor had a St. Patrick's Day parade.
That would be a really fun time.
We have a huge Irish following here,
we do.
in Bangor.
Yeah, well, maybe for the future.
See what we can do.
The time now is 8:19. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here's where we stand. We have a lot of alerts in effect. A storm warning along the coast, high wind warnings also posted. We have a flood watch up and also winter weather advisories. I'll pull some of the alerts off to show you the winter weather advisory that will drop later on this morning. And here's a wind advisory that's also posted. And wave heights not too bad just yet at around 5 to 7 feet. That is going to get worse coming up later on as we welcome in some very strong winds that we're talking 50 to 60 miles per hour coming up soon. For now, the radar is showing a little bit of snow that is moving in at this time, but with the rising temperatures, we're going to lose that snow and it's going to get replaced with some showers and thunderstorms. A very strong system that's tracking off towards the north and east at this moment in time, and that's what's going to be giving us the showers and yes, even some thunderstorms on the way later on today, and some even lingering later on tonight. Notice that stacked pressure gradient right there. The isobar is getting very stacked. That's your strong winds right there. And we'll keep some of the precipitation going for a bit, but by tomorrow we get the precipitation out of here, but the winds will stay active as well. And even by Tuesday night, things start to calm down a bit, just some clouds clearing up, and that's about it. But a lot of rainfall in the way. We're talking an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain before we're all finished up there, but the winds will also be a concern. And we're talking winds that could reach up to around 50 to 60 miles per hour. And this is as we head towards tonight and the parts of Tuesday morning before they start to back off a bit throughout the day on your Tuesday. So here we are for today. We're talking mid-50s, showers and thunderstorms, windy, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. Here we are tonight, upper 40s, showers and thunderstorms, some dense fog possible, and that south wind, not a typo, up to 50 miles per hour. For tomorrow, low 50s, part of the county, some rain showers, and that south wind getting up to about 40 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Mostly sunny for your Wednesday with highs in the low 30s, with upper 30s coming up for your Thursday under a mostly cloudy sky. Rain and snow chances Friday, highs in the mid 40s.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
At Ashes to Ashes Pet Crematory, we understand your pet is family. When it's time to say goodbye, you deserve compassionate, respectful care. We're a family-owned crematory in LaGrange, offering private cremation for dogs, cats, and even exotic pets. You'll meet the caring people who handle everything from start to finish. Visit our office to see our selection of urns and memorial jewelry for pets and people. You do have a choice in where your pet is cremated. Call Ashes to Ashes Pet Crematory today. We're here when you need us most. Please call us for pricing of services.
When you're ready to remodel your kitchen, find all the materials and services you need at Hammond Lumber Company. Get inspired by the extensive in-store displays in Hammond's kitchen, bath, and flooring division. Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins, and all design fees are refunded when you purchase your materials from them. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. When it's time for a new kitchen, it's time to bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Violence in Cuba as protesters attack Communist Party offices and chant against the government, setting fires and throwing rocks in a rare showing of defiance. The angry protest comes as the Cuban government says it's talking with the Trump administration about a possible economic deal. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more.
Cuba is experiencing one of its worst energy crises in years. Anger over rolling blackouts and a shortage of food are culminating in protests. There are reports of anti-government demonstrators attacking a Communist Party office in central Cuba. Videos on social media showed fire and people throwing rocks through the windows of a building. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel addressed the protests, saying, "It is understandable that the prolonged blackouts cause distress in our town as a consequence of the U.S. energy blockade, cruelly intensified in recent months." But he goes on to say, for vandalism and violence, there will be no impunity. Cuba's power outages got worse after the U.S. seized Nicolas Maduro in January, ending Venezuelan shipments of oil to the island. President Trump has also threatened to impose tariffs on any country that supplies oil to Cuba. And since then, airlines have restricted service to the island because they can no longer refuel. Classes have been suspended, and government employees are working remotely to try and preserve energy.
We can't stand because the situation in Cuba is very difficult. It's very hard, this situation. We're suffocating in this situation.
Facing pressure, President Díaz-Canel says he spoke with President Trump last week. Díaz-Canel indicated the point of the talks was to find common ground to ensure the security of both the U.S. and Cuba. President Trump says Cuba needs to make a deal.
Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line. They have no money. They have no oil. They have a bad philosophy. They have a bad regime that's been bad for a long time.
Public protests are rare in Cuba, where there is no specific law to regulate these types of demonstrations. It leaves those who are arrested in legal limbo. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Weather extremes across the country, from record heat to blizzard conditions to possible tornadoes. Severe weather is affecting nearly every part of the country this morning. ABC's Sophie Flay has the latest.
This morning, a powerful winter storm slamming the Midwest before heading east, causing travel trouble for millions. Up to 30 inches of snow expected in parts of Wisconsin.
We haven't had a snowstorm like this in some years.
Blizzard conditions and near zero visibility prompting officials in Minnesota to close several highways. At least 190 crashes reported on Saturday alone. Severe weather blamed for more than 3,000 flight cancellations Sunday. More are expected today as the storm pushes east, bringing a threat of damaging wind, hail, and possible tornadoes from Florida to New York. In Washington, votes postponed in Congress due to flight delays, while many federal workers are being allowed to work from home. The disruption comes amid the spring break travel rush and as TSA agents work without pay during the partial government shutdown, calling out sick in record numbers. Atlantis Airport was forced to close one of its 4 security checkpoints. Other hubs like Newark report longer than usual wait times. Lines at the airport in Austin, Texas are once again expected to stretch outside the terminal today.
Unfortunately, this is going to turn into a security risk if we're not staffed properly.
Travelers are being told to get to the airport 3 hours before their flight. Other weather extremes include a rare March heat wave on the West Coast and flooding in Hawaii. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
It was a star-studded night at the Oscars with a ceremony that saw Billy Crystal and Barbra Streisand take the stage and Michael B. Jordan winning big last night. His movie Sinners taking 4 of the major awards, topped only by Leonardo DiCaprio's One Battle After Another. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is in Los Angeles with all the big moments from the Oscars.
It was one Oscar after another at the 98th Academy Awards.
What a night. You guys, let's have a martini. This is pretty amazing.
One battle after another, taking home 6 awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actor. It was a night full of first-time winners, including Jessie Buckley, who won Best Actress for her role in Hamnet. This is really something. Michael B. Jordan won his first Oscar, beating out Timothée Chalamet for Best Actor for his role in Sinners.
Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, Will Smith, and to be amongst those giants, amongst those greats, amongst my ancestors, amongst my guys. Thank you, everybody in this room.
Sinners also taking home the Oscar for Best Cinematography. Autumn Durald Archipel became the first woman to win in that category. Sinners director Ryan Coogler took home his first Oscar for Best Original Screenplay, but he lost out to One Battle After Another's Paul Thomas Anderson for Best Director. Amy Madigan became a first-time Oscar winner at age 75 for her role in the horror movie Weapons. And it was a golden night for Golden, which became the first K-pop song to win the Oscar for Best Song. It was a night of celebration, but also of emotion.
My daughter Jackie was 9 years old when she was killed in Uvalde.
We heard from Gloria Cázares, who was featured in the Oscar-winning documentary All the Empty Rooms, which memorialized the untouched bedrooms of children lost to school shootings. Barbra Streisand delivered a surprise performance, paying tribute to the late Robert Redford, her co-star in The Way We Were. And Billy Crystal eulogized director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, joined by more than a dozen actors who starred in Reiner's many hit films.
Buddy, what fun we had storming the castle.
One Battle After Another was the big winner last night with 6 Oscars, including the first ever award for casting. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A crowd protesting press political issues demonstrated just blocks away from the major awards ceremony on Sunday. Protesters gathered near where the Oscar Awards were being held in Los Angeles. They rallied against disgraced sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and demanded more transparency and accountability from the government regarding the Epstein files. Protesters chanting "Save our children" and "Turn the files into trials," while many held shirts that read "Save our children, not the pedos." Other participants protested the Iran and Gaza wars. Police redirected the crowd to sidewalks after a few minutes and reportedly arrested one protester who was part of a group who was blocking traffic. Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, a local author and food blogger will be discussing her new cookbook all about pizza.
Ooh, one of my favorite topics.
Me too.
That's coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
At the Challenger Learning Center of Maine, our mission to inspire Maine students has never been stronger. Our newly renovated facility is open and ready to launch. We have upgraded simulator rooms, refreshed learning spaces, and new hands-on STEM experiences. Check out our exciting upcoming events for students, educators, and families. There's always something happening at Challenger. Ready for liftoff? Explore what's new and what's next at the Challenger Learning Center of Maine. Visit astronaut.org for details.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Monday, March 16th, 2026. And this is also Everything You Do Is Right Day. I love this.
I love it too. Yeah. This day is meant to cheer us up following Everything You Think Is Wrong Day, which was yesterday. This day reminds us that everything will be all right regardless of what has happened in the past. No matter what your boss, spouse, or your family may tell you, you can relax today because everything you do is right.
So if anybody gives you any trouble today, you could just tell them, hey, everything I do is right.
Everything I do. We've used this a few times this morning.
Yeah, I use it often in my regular life. Doesn't work. All right, moving on to history now. It was on this day back in 1802, President Thomas Jefferson signed a measure authorizing the creation of the United States Military Academy at West Point. In 1850 on this date, Nathaniel Hawthorne's story, The Scarlet Letter, was published for the first time. He had begun his career as a writer after attending classes at Bowdoin College here in Maine. And in 1926, the world's first liquid-fueled rocket was launched from a snowy field in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was created by Robert Goddard, who is considered the father of rocketry. It reached a height of just 41 feet, but was the start of an effort to send a man into space.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
And in 1968, American soldiers killed as many as 500 unarmed civilians during an attack on small villages in Vietnam. They were told Viet Cong guerrillas were hiding there, but it was mostly women, children, and old men. The crime, which was kept a secret for nearly 2 years, later became known as the My Lai Massacre. And in 1985, Associated Press reporter Terry Anderson was kidnapped in Beirut by Hezbollah militants. He would spend nearly 7 years in captivity before being freed in 1991. And in 1994, figure skater Tonya Harding pleaded guilty to covering up an attack on rival Nancy Kerrigan. And lastly, in 1995, Mississippi ratified the 13th Amendment, becoming the last state in the nation to approve the abolition of slavery.
Not until 1995.
Yeah.
A little late.
Yeah.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Lauren Graham, who is 59 years old today. Actress Alexandra Daddario is 40. And musician Nancy Wilson from the band Heart is 72 years old today. One of my favorite all-time bands.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. We have a lot of advisories posted. We have storm warnings along the coast, high wind warnings in effect as well, lasting until about 8 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. We'll have some very strong winds moving in. We have flood watches also posted and some winter weather advisories that are also in effect. I'll pull some of the advisories off, and you can see that winter weather advisory that's also up, and that's also a wind advisory. So we have plenty of advisories that are in effect with a strong system that will be moving in. We are seeing a little bit of activity moving in this morning. First off, as a little bit of snow right there, we are going to switch over to some rain showers and yes, even some thunderstorms that will be on the way with a push of warm air that will be on the way. This is courtesy of this very strong system that's going to be tracking off towards the north and east in due time. So Futurecast showing that push of warm air with showers and yes, even some thunderstorms on the way today and even tonight. The tight pressure gradient showing that strong wind that will be moving in later on. Your hourly forecast moving forward showing the rain and yes, even some thunderstorms mixing in with rising temperatures. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Devin. Well, March 15th will forever be a day etched in Maine history. 206 years ago, Maine became the 23rd state in the nation.
As we celebrate another Statehood Day, our Grace Blanchard spoke with the state's historian to learn more about the path to independence for the Pine Tree State.
Maine living has come to be known as the way life should be. But how did we get here?
After the Revolution, Maine began to develop economically and politically on its own.
206 years ago, the District of Maine separated from Massachusetts to become the state of Maine, and March 15th is now celebrated as Statehood Day.
I think we can really take great pride in our independence.
According to Maine's longtime state historian Earl Shuttleworth, there was pushback from southern states over Maine becoming another free state. This led to the Missouri Compromise.
Maine, began to pride itself in being a free state, free of slavery.
Over the years, Maine has taken on many different identities, but he says one has stood the test of time.
This whole new identity of vacation land emerged beginning in the post-Civil War period and is still very much with us today.
In honor of Statehood Day, I took a walk through downtown Bangor to ask people what they love most about Maine.
It's just so calm and just so relaxing.
I love the views, the oceanfront views.
Oh, the coast, sailing in the summer. That's number one.
Yes, I love the lifestyle.
Yeah, I would say it's a hidden gem, especially for the summers. People are missing out for sure.
What I really enjoy about the state is that there are still many parts of it that remain relatively unchanged.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
One of the things I also love about Maine is you can always discover new places. I lived here for decades now, and I'm still finding new towns, new things that I haven't done
You
before.
kind of get the best of both worlds, the coast, the mountains, and everything in between.
Works for me.
Me too. Still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
We'll be hearing about a special cookbook too, right?
Yes, we will.
We have a guest in the studio getting ready to tell us all about it as Good Morning Maine continues.
Purple Coat Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
Furniture shopping is all about choices. Like, should I wait for a sale or get the lowest and best price every day at Bob's? Should I get my extendable Betty dining set with gray, russet, avocado, or teal chairs? Do I want my Elm real marble dining set with a natural finish or espresso finish? When I'm hosting a party on my show-stopping Beaumont dining set, what am I gonna put in the hidden drawers?
Candy! Everyone loves candy. Get feature-packed dining at wow-worthy prices.
Oh my Bob. Poor insulation is the origin of your heating and cooling complications. We are Dr. Energy Saver by TC Hafford Basement Systems. We are the local energy saving experts. We identify the problem areas and provide customized solutions that leave your home comfortable and your energy bills affordable. Whether it's a drafty attic or poorly sealed ductwork, we have your back and more. Financing is available. For a no-cost, no-obligation estimate, call Dr. Energy Saver by TC Hafford Basement Systems. We fix uncomfortable homes.
Grandpa! Make Easter moments magical with the Gold Bunny from Lindt.
No matter where you are or what you drive, Rock Auto has all the parts your car will ever need.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto. Purple Coat Bangor is open and ready for business. Jump into the best products, pricing, and customer service in town. Join a growing community with monthly events, art and music nights, daily specials, and plenty of good vibes. Located at 431 Audlin Road, right off of 395. Stop by and check us out today.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. Max Sturm here at the Patrick Memorial Gymnasium at the University of Vermont in Burlington, where the America East Women's Basketball Conference Championship took place between the University of Vermont and the University of Maine. I don't want to tease you guys with this one anymore. We're going to jump right into those highlights. So let's get it going. Number 1, Vermont. Number 2, Maine. One matchup with a trip to March Madness on the line. Maine gets it going early with who else but Addie Smith, who drives to the lane and lays it up and in for the game's first points. A couple minutes later, Smith with the steal, a lob down the court to Asta Blonenfelt. She hauls it in and tacks 2 more on the board for Maine. Then to take a 9-2 lead in the first quarter, Lala Woods, we know she's dangerous. She pulls up from 3 and drills it, but that's where things took a turn. Vermont's Kiera Hansen takes the give beyond the 3 line, puts it up and knocks it down. And then off the steal, Jaden Welts finds Hansen again, this time corner 3, up and good. And she ain't done yet. She drives to the net, floats it, draws contact, and puts it down, counted in the basket, and one. Closing out the first half, Welch hooks it to Nicola Preedy. She gets in front of Smith and tosses one, and a nice finish for 2. Big lead for Vermont. Addie Smith started to get it going for the Black Bears in the second half. She puts down this nice floater, but ultimately it wasn't enough for Maine, and Vermont goes on to win 61-43. And so Vermont will get that bid back to March Madness in all likelihood as they take home the America East Championship. Now, a little bit of a recap for this game. It started off strong for the Black Bears as they went up 9-2 thanks to points from Addie Smith and Lala Woods, who were able to knock down some nice jumpers and some three-pointers early on. But after a timeout halfway through the first, the Catamounts really found their groove offensively. Shots were starting to go down. Hanson especially with 2 quick threes and that and one basket that you see in the highlight. Defensively, they were able to lock down Addie Smith really throughout the rest of this game. Addie Smith did have some momentum in the second half, but ultimately it wouldn't be enough, and their momentum really didn't last long enough to stop Vermont and kind of take away from what they were doing offensively and defensively. The Cats just found a way to respond in every single way possible. After the game, Black Bears head coach Eamon Vachon really gave credit to Vermont and how they were able to work down this offense, really credited their defense for being the key factor and why they were able to come away with this championship win tonight.
I told them after the game I think they've been the best team in the league all year. And I think they were tonight. I think they just played outstanding. I think their seniors led them, and they just played a really good game.
Addie Smith's career comes to an end with this loss, but it wasn't lost on her just how much it meant for her to be a Black Bear for 4 years.
And I have some of my best friends from this team, and just the support that we get on a daily basis from our fans in the state is indescribable. So I think leaving that is going to be really hard.
Vachon also took a moment to appreciate those seniors who have been here for either 4 years, 5 years, 2 years. They're all over the place, and with them walking out of the building, she shared her emotions as they step out.
When the seniors leave, I feel like they're leaving, they each leave their own mark on our program in a special way, you know, and so while I'm so excited to see what they do, you know, in their next life after this, they leave behind 11 girls in that locker room that have learned from them.
Overall, while the outcome for Maine was disappointing, it was an absolute blast to cover this team this season. They should be incredibly proud of how they played with this new look squad this season. For right now, though, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Diabetes isn't a death sentence, but it is absolutely a life sentence, and you have to figure out how you're going to keep your kid alive. So when you find somebody from the government that's on your side, and it happens to be Susan Collins at the same time, that was just magnificent. After the meeting in Portland for my wife and son, my wife came back. She was 10 feet tall. She'd felt seen, she felt heard, and she felt like we had a powerful advocate on our side. It was a big step towards healing.
Thank you, Senator Collins.
Please continue delivering for T1 families.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
You hand me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22. At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we are joined by Sarah Walker-Karen, who is a local author specializing in cookbooks, and you're also a food blogger. Thanks so much for coming in today.
I'm so excited to be here.
So you're showcasing your new cookbook, which comes out tomorrow on St. Patty's Day. Can you kind of explain what this cookbook entails and what it's inspired by?
Sure. It's the Pizza Planet cookbook, inspired by Pizza Planet and Toy Story, which appears only really in that first film.
It
and
does,
you see the truck in the other films. So I was given a lot of latitude to imagine what would it be like to eat at Pizza Planet.
Yeah.
And it's written like a employee manual for Pizza Planet employees.
Oh, so cool.
So that was really fun.
So there's all different, pizza recipes and different stuff like that that people can flip through and kind of experiment with cooking and have a fun time with it in there.
Absolutely. It's great for families to cook together with. It's great for date nights if you want to do kind of a themed date night. Or people who just love pizza or have that nostalgic connection to Pizza Planet.
Definitely. And like I was saying, I flipped through it earlier before we went live, and it would be a great book for beginners who don't really have much experience with cooking, just to kind of test it out, but also people who love cooking and want to try something new. So I think it really combines those well.
Absolutely. And writing it as a manual.
Just hold that.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Writing it as a manual allowed me to really get into the beginner steps in a really organic way.
Yeah, it's really important to kind of lay those steps out for people to be able to put this together and make their own stuff, which is really neat. And you have a lot of other books as well. You 10 or so, I think you said?
Yes, this is my 10th book.
So for people who the pizza might not be your thing, there are other options that you can check out. What are some of those other books that you've done?
A couple of my recent ones are the Disney Princess Tea Parties cookbook, which has been very, very popular. There is a family here in Bangor who, every time they see me, they remind me that their daughter's very favorite drink comes from that book.
Aww.
So that's always nice.
That's nice.
Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts Official Wizarding World cookbook. I also did several quick and easy cooking for those who really want to eat well but don't have the time or don't have the desire to get out 50 ingredients to make something. And Classic Diners of Maine, which was so much fun to write.
I bet. Yeah, that's the one that really showcases our state, which is awesome. And for people who, well, actually, you have a book launch coming up on Wednesday, right?
I do.
In downtown Bangor.
Yep, it's at Bookspace, 48 Columbia Street at 7 o'clock.
Very fun.
In the evening. And I'll be in conversation with Justin Soderberg, who is the voice behind the Capes and Tights podcast. So it's going to be a great kind of nerdy conversation about Toy Story and Pizza Planet and things like that.
Well, that's awesome. For people who want to check out this book and all your other books, where can they go to find this?
Anywhere that sells books.
Yeah.
My books are sold nationally in bookstores and Target and whatnot. But downtown Bangor, the Briar Patch always has signed copies.
That's wonderful. Sarah, thanks so much for coming in and joining us again. And for your food blog as well, where can people go to find that?
sarahscucinabella.com.
Wonderful. We'll have all that information linked to this story on our website after the shows today. We'll get all that posted. Thanks again for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here's where we stand. We have a lot of alerts in effect. A storm warning along the coast, high wind warnings also posted. We have a flood watch up and also winter weather advisories. I'll pull some of the alerts off to show you the winter weather advisory that will drop later on this morning. And here's a wind advisory that's also posted. And wave heights not too bad just yet at around 5 to 7 feet. That is going to get worse coming up later on as we welcome in some very strong winds that we're talking 50 to 60 miles per hour coming up soon. For now, the radar is showing a little bit of snow that is moving in at this time, but with the rising temperatures, we're going to lose that snow and it's going to get replaced with some showers and thunderstorms. A very strong system that is tracking off towards the north and east at this moment in time, and that's what's going to be giving us the showers and, yes, even some thunderstorms on the way later on today, and some even lingering later on tonight. Notice that stacked pressure gradient right there. The isobar is getting very stacked. That's your strong winds right there, and we'll keep some of the precipitation going for a bit, but by tomorrow we get the the precipitation out of here, but the winds will stay active as well. And even by Tuesday night, things start to calm down a bit, just some clouds clearing up, and that's about it. But a lot of rainfall in the way. We're talking an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain before we're all finished up there, but the winds will also be a concern. And we're talking winds that could reach up to around 50 to 60 miles per hour. And this is as we head towards tonight and the parts of Tuesday morning before they start to back off a bit throughout the day on your Tuesday. So here we are for today. We're talking mid-50s, showers and thunderstorms, windy, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. Here we are tonight, upper 40s, showers and thunderstorms, some dense fog possible, and that south wind, not a typo, up to 50 miles per hour. For tomorrow, low 50s, part of the county, some rain showers, and that south wind getting up to about 40 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Mostly sunny for your Wednesday with highs in the low 30s, with upper 30s coming up for your Thursday under a mostly cloudy sky. Rain and snow chances Friday, highs in the mid 40s.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Get ready for mowing season, for hauling season, and exploring season. Get ready for tearing it up, cutting it down, and working all around season. Because it's bad boy season. All year long. Bad boy. Power, performance, attitude.
You're never gonna believe who called the Cabin Masters.
Who called us?
Joe Bornstein's office. They have a small project for us.
How small?
Pretty small. It is on the lake.
Got $1 million views.
Well then, let's show them we mean business.
Did you know that Joe Bornstein has helped over 25,000 Maine families?
In all 16 counties?
Yep.
They're wicked good lawyers.
Fighting and winning for injured Mainers for over 50 years.
Good job, guys.
Nice. Injured Mainers know to call Joe.
Spring forward into a new Kia with Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darling's Kia. Step into a new Kia K4 for only $199 a month, or load up the family in an all-new 8-passenger Kia Carnival for just $399 a month, loaded with tech and heated seats. Plus, every new Kia comes with our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. Spring forward with #1 Darling's Kia. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. You'll do better at Darling's.
When Paramount Paving wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Paramount Paving in Old Town provides expert paving, seal coating services to eastern and central Maine. Currently booking for the 2025 season. Call for a free estimate today.
Kochi and Gifu prefectures in western Japan announced the first blooms of the country's favorite flower as officials declare the start of the festive season. Kochi Meteorology Agency officials inspected a tree in western area and counted 6 flowers. The start of the season is officially announced when more than 5 flowers are counted on a tree. According to that agency, less rain from November to January and the duration of the sun being out longer could have helped the tree wake up. Cherry blossoms usually reach their peak between late March and early April, just as the country starts to celebrate the beginning of the new school and business year.
Japan, of course, gave us some cherry trees that are on display in Washington now.
So pretty.
Boy, I'd love to head down there
Me
one of these
too.
springs.
Awesome.
What a sight. Well, meanwhile, Saturday, March 14th was Pi Day, an annual celebration of the mathematical constant of 3.14, and one Bangor restaurant offered a mathematically friendly deal for its customers. Portland Pie Company on Saturday offered $10 cheese pizzas for just $3.14 and a pint of tubular IPAs for $3.14 as well. According to bartender Victoria Hand, their annual Pie Day deals can also be interpreted as an appreciation day for their customers.
Customers that are loyal, that come in here, they deserve a day where they get some discounts, more than they already do from being a loyalty member. So we try to help them as much as they help us.
and says their Pi Day deals is something they do every year and something they plan on doing again next year.
I'll have to remember it for next year.
Yeah, nice thing to do.
Well, Boston St. Patrick's Day kicked off on Sunday as nearly 1 million people gathered in South Boston for that popular celebration. New security tactics to help keep attendees safe were also in place on Sunday, including drones set to help prevent overcrowding on rooftops and balconies and for extra security measures. Many parade participants rode horses, performed reenactments, and played music for the crowd. The Boston St. Patrick's Day Parade has been a staple there for many years.
And McDonald's says it's going to reboot its value menu to help financially strapped customers. The country's largest fast food chain says it's going to launch its longtime McValue menu items and redesign some deals to help consumers who still feel priced out when buying basic fast food meals. McValue 2.0 will feature $3 items and $4 meal items deals. The new items will replace buy one, add one sales deals. The reconfigured pricing would include items such as 4-piece chicken McNuggets or a sausage biscuit for just $3.
Very
Sounds
cool.
good to me.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but thank you for joining us.
Have a great day, everyone.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he recently